Today is the first episode, and I want to talk about a content creator that I follow and that I have had the pleasure of getting to know. I'll, I'll wait because then I can hire someone and they can do it. Newsflash, no one can build your systems for you 100%. Hello, welcome to 10 out of 10. Um, Today is the first episode, and I want to talk about a content creator that I follow and that I have had the pleasure of getting to know, and how her sharing a challenge that she was having in business and a personal challenge that she made herself to change her business was one of the most brilliant things I'd seen a content creator do on social media, and why she was on the right track with doing that, and more people need to follow in her footsteps. First, my name is Melinda B. Powers. I am the expert witness at Intentional Professionals Network, and welcome to the first episode of 10 out of 10. No notes. The social media content creator that I'm referring to, her name is Socially Chrissy. She is based in Detroit. She is a car-free mom in the D. We're both car-free, so that's how we ended up meeting. She's been phenomenal in how she navigates the social media space. That's her niche. She does social media marketing and creation for clients. But she shared a journey she was on around the end of last year, beginning of this year, like holiday time into the new year, where she was building systems for her business. It appeared to me that she realized that if she continued to go on the path she was going without those systems in place and more streamlined and functional, she was going to start scaling more and more chaos. Unfortunately, that's what usually happens. If you strike gold and you figure out how to bring that money in consistently enough, you just want to capitalize on that as an owner. But without those systems keeping everything in place and giving you something to rely on as a structure, it can fall apart pretty quickly. So I really respected that. One, she came to that realization. Two, she did something about it. But three, she shared it publicly. And I thought that was really cool. I don't know how many people took what she said and also used it, but I would say that's probably one of the best things that any entrepreneur, small business person, solopreneur, business person in general can do. At I recommend sooner rather than later, because once you get further down the path, when you really, really absolutely need that stuff, it's harder and harder to get it done the further along you go. You may think, "Oh, I'll wait because then I can hire someone and they can do it." Newsflash, no one can build your systems for you 100%. You have to be involved in that process because it's your business, and you know it better than, or you should know it better than anyone else, because a lot of it lives up here and you have to translate it out. It's not to say that you can't have assistance in that. You absolutely can. But the expectation should never be that you can completely 100% outsource that activity. It's not realistic. Don't know if anyone told you that, but I'm telling you now. However, just looking at her journey, I could see the through line, and I could tell that it was making her business a little bit easier. She shared how she did a lot of pitching. and how she had to hurry up and get that stuff. I think that's what spurred it, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a while since I watched the series, but from what I can recall, she had done a lot of pitches in a period of time and was getting acceptances and responses quicker than she had thought she would. And that caused her, it kind of forced her into a place where she had to get the systems more tightened because things were getting ready to explode for her. And I thought that was a really cool thing to share. It's very inspiring, but it's a lot of work. And unfortunately, that's the part I think a lot of folks are avoiding is doing that hard work of sitting down, sifting through things, organizing them, organizing your thoughts, figuring out what all is there, what needs to be addressed, what's being left out, what's working, what's not working, what needs to work better, all of the things. It's a lot. It's a lot of mental work. It can be some physical work depending on how you record keep. You may have to go hunt down documents in your digital files. They might be a mess. Please don't get me started on that. And not only that, she talked about specifically how she systematized her digital files because she handles other people's social media accounts. She has to have a very organized system. Otherwise, I'm sure that can get messy pretty fast, keeping track of her own content as well as her clients. So I just really enjoyed that she went through that process publicly. And I also had the pleasure of taking one of her workshops, and she talked about how to make content easier. You know, she gave a lot of great tips and tricks and ways to be more efficient in creating content. And one of the ways she really stressed in that workshop was about how you organize your digital files and how when before you even record, everything should have a home and be, folders and names and all of that should be set so that your raw footage is already organized before you even get to creating the actual content. And I thought that was brilliant. It never really occurred to me that that was so important, but now that I've been creating more and more content, I understand why I haven't been the best at keeping it at bay ahead of time. I'm doing a lot of backtracking right now, but I totally get why you have to be proactive with this. And it's not only that, even my personal files, I'm just amazed at how they have just exponentially grown in the last couple of years, but specifically in the last year, because when I moved back to Detroit last year, I started creating content much more frequently than I ever have. And I have so much in my phone, in the cloud, in here. And so I've been working through organizing it piece by piece. It can be a little frustrating because it's so much stuff. But once I have everything in its place, it's going to feel so much better and I won't let it get to that point again. But it's taken a lot to just get things wrangled, even just the files on my computer, just getting through those and all of the things that I've downloaded and separating and putting on external drives. But all of that stuff is so necessary, whether you're a content creator or not. I have a quick story about that. During COVID, in the very, very beginning, I was living in Florida at the time. I was working for the SBDC as a business consultant. And we ended up being tasked, all the consultants in our office, we had to assist the state with collecting applications, um, checking them for sufficiency, processing them, and making decisions on bridge loan funds. Those funds ran out really quickly. I don't remember exactly. It was somewhere between like maybe 2 to 4 weeks, I think, and that money was gone. But what ended up hurting a lot of the businesses that applied or wanted to apply was that not all of them had their files in order enough to be able to retrieve what they needed and get it to us in time. Either they couldn't find things because they needed tax returns, P&Ls, balance sheets, all the things, bank statements probably. And if they couldn't get their hands on those in a digital form, because you couldn't turn in paper versions of that stuff, it all had to be digital because, we couldn't be, around each other. So, but they did allow some people to drop off paper packages, but I don't know I wasn't involved in that part, so I don't know the extent of what they were and weren't able. I think the applications is the only thing that could be um on paper. But what I saw happen a lot was older, like legacy business owners that didn't understand how they didn't even know how to make a PDF, let alone provide their tax returns on a PDF. They probably had paper files. There was one woman I remember, she submitted her tax return to us in screenshots. If you've ever looked at a tax return, it's multiple pages. She did them in the screenshots on her phone and they were not very good. The quality, they were blurry. It was not a good thing. But that hurt a lot of folks because they may have submitted on time, but if the documents were not in a format that was approved and allowed, then we'd have to kick it back. And what some of them expected us to do was to walk them through how to make a PDF. We didn't have the time. We were processing thousands of applications a day. It was crazy. And but it really got my attention as far as records, documentation, and just how unorganized a lot of the businesses were and unprepared for an emergency. That's another conversation we need to have about sustainability. And so back to Chrissy though, because this is what this video is about her. Those things that she talked about made me reflect on that time, and they're all connected. It's not two separate conversations, it's one conversation. And the conversation remains that organizations are living, breathing things. They take on a life of their own after a while. And the more you grow, the more complex things can get. And you just don't want to start pouring energy into growing something that just becomes chaotic. Because if you don't have everything organized, at least to some degree, or standardized, then you're scaling confusion. And that's not a good thing. It takes a lot to unravel that after a while, once you've, left the starting blocks and you've added on folks and you've taken on contracts or you're in a storefront, like it just compounds. It's like a snowball effect. And it gets so much harder to go back and implement or undo and redo. It gets so much more difficult the further along you get. So kudos. Well, I'm going to stop there, but I would implore you to take from that what you will. Don't wait till it's too late. It's always a good time to start. Don't ever think it's too late to start. And you will always be so grateful. You'll thank yourself later that you started when you did. Please, in the comments, let me know, have you implemented systems? Are you dragging your feet on that? How organized are you? Do you have a great organization system or method that you'd like to share in the comments? Please let us know. In the meantime, that's the long and short of it. Chrissy, kudos to you. You get 10 out of 10 for your work and for bringing that to folks' attention and not being afraid to share, not feeling ashamed and not feeling like there was any reason that you couldn't share something that's such a common issue out loud for all of us to see. You inspired me. I'm sure you inspired others. And kudos to you. 10 out of 10. No notes. And in the meantime, if you're not following Chrissy, here's her. I'm still working on that. Here's her handles so that you can follow her. She has really great content about traveling, whether that is by zip car, by bus, by train, by plane, by e-bike. She does it all, and she does it all while being a mom, which is very, very cool. And she also travels with her daughter, and they do some really cool stuff together. So please check her out. And in the meantime, take care of yourself, take care of your business, and I'll see you later. Bye.